The prisoner who faked his own death to escape. The death that never happened. Before we start, subscribe, or you might miss the one escape story that fooled every camera in America. The night it happened, the cameras were still rolling. Every corridor, every angle, every hallway in Northlake Penitentiary was under watch. It was supposed to be the safest high-security prison in the state of Ohio, built after a decade of surveillance innovation. No one could vanish without leaving a trail. Until one man did. His name was Daniel Reese, age 39. Convicted of corporate fraud, identity theft, and computer crimes that cost investors millions. He wasn't violent, wasn't loud, and didn't fit the image of an escape artist. He was quiet, calculating, always reading, always watching. He'd been at Northlake for 7 years when the unthinkable happened. It started on a Friday night, 11:32 p.m. CCTV caught Reese collapsing in his cell. Guards rushed in, shouting for medical. His body lay motionless on the cold floor, eyes open, a thin trickle of blood pooling near his mouth. Within minutes, the on-duty nurse called it a heart attack, possibly caused by medication complications. The footage captured everything: the chaos, the stretcher, the doors opening as the paramedics wheeled him out under white fluorescent light. By dawn, the prison announced his death. Officially documented. Paperwork filed. Body tagged and transferred to the county morgue. Case closed. Except something didn't feel right. A week later, a junior security analyst named Evan Marks was reviewing archived footage as part of a standard post-mortem report. He wasn't expecting to find anything unusual. The system automatically recorded and stored all inmate movements for 72 hours after a death, standard protocol. But at timestamp 1:14 a.m., roughly 2 hours after Reese's death, Marks noticed something strange. One of the hallway cameras glitched, just for half a second. A flicker. Then the feed jumped back to normal. He rewound it, slowed it down, frame by frame. During that brief flicker, a shadow moved across the morgue corridor. The outline of a man. Same height, same build, wearing a white sheet draped over his shoulders. Marks stared at the monitor. It couldn't be Reese. The body had been transferred hours earlier, or so the logs said. He pulled the morgue camera next. And there it was, a body bag being unzipped by a man in scrubs. Except the morgue technician on duty that night, Dr. Alan Pierce, had already clocked out at 10:15 p.m. Someone else had taken his place. The figure on the screen leaned over, checking the tag on the body's wrist. Then he looked up, straight into the camera. For a single frame, just one, his face was visible under the surgical mask. It was Reese. Marks froze the image, heart pounding. He tried enhancing it, thinking maybe it was a trick of light, a recording glitch, or a staff resemblance. But the eyes, the same calculating eyes, stared right into the lens. Then came the most disturbing detail. The timestamp on that footage read 11:57 p.m. 25 minutes after Reese was declared dead. Marks immediately contacted his superior. But by the time the security team returned to the morgue, the body was gone. No trace of the fake technician. No record of a secondary transport. No witnesses who remembered seeing the van leave. Inmate Daniel Reese's death certificate had already been processed and digitally signed. His file marked deceased. Even his fingerprints had been logged and archived, supposedly scanned at the morgue. But when forensic investigators rechecked the scanner logs, they found something impossible. The fingerprint data had been uploaded not from the morgue device, but from a laptop connected through the prison's internal network. The IP address traced back to the library, Reese's old workstation, the same terminal he used for years to assist staff in digitizing inmate records. Evan Marks stared at the monitor in disbelief. He programmed his own death, he whispered. By morning, every federal agency was on alert. But as they reviewed the footage from the city's external traffic cameras, they found one more clue that made the blood run cold. At 3:22 a.m., an ambulance matching the prison's vehicle ID crossed the interstate bridge. The driver wore a paramedic uniform, face partially obscured by a surgical mask. When analysts enhanced the frame, slowing it to 0.25 speed, They could see him glance briefly toward the dash-mounted camera. Same eyes. Same man. Daniel Reese. Alive. And gone. But the twist? The van never reached the hospital. It vanished off-grid halfway between the prison and the city. And when investigators pulled GPS logs from the vehicle, they found that someone had remotely deleted the route history, down to the very second the van left the gates. What they didn't know yet was that Reese hadn't just escaped the prison. He'd escaped the cameras themselves. The man who outsmarted the cameras. 4 weeks after the death of Daniel Reese, the country's most advanced surveillance network was chasing a ghost. Every major federal agency was brought in. The FBI, Homeland Security, and a specialized digital forensics team from Quantico. Northlake Penitentiary became ground zero for a new kind of investigation, one where the criminal wasn't hiding behind walls or tunnels, but behind code. The warden, Michael Dunn, hadn't slept in days. Every press conference began with the same question: how does a man fake his own death under 187 security cameras? The short answer was chilling: by rewriting how the cameras saw him. Investigators discovered that Reese had been volunteering for years in the prison's library and IT lab, digitizing inmate records, processing paperwork, and occasionally assisting with internal systems updates. Nobody suspected that the quiet inmate with round glasses and good manners was doing more than data entry. But buried deep in Northlake servers, the forensic team found something Reese had hidden years earlier: a silent background process labeled System Maintenance Log Beta. It wasn't maintenance. It was an override program. Each time the CCTV footage from certain areas was archived, Reese's program automatically duplicated the feed, spliced in altered timestamps, and inserted ghost frames of empty hallways. The cameras weren't blind. They were seeing what he wanted them to see. During the night of his death, Reese triggered his script remotely through the prison library's intranet. The cameras kept streaming, but only fake data. Guards were staring at real-time loops of an empty cell while Reese, alive and conscious, injected a chemical compound into his arm that slowed his heartbeat to a near stop. The nurse who pronounced him dead never realized what she was seeing was deliberate, a medically induced illusion. He had turned the technology meant to contain him into his greatest weapon. The deeper the FBI dug, the more they found Reese had planned every second. He'd stolen credentials from staff members who used the IT lab, copied fingerprints from glass mugs in the break room, and even designed a mask using the 3D printer the prison used for educational purposes. The technician who unzipped his body bag wasn't an accomplice. It was him, wearing a silicone replica of another man's face. Agent Rebecca Lang, who led the digital manhunt, called him the Houdini of the information age. But for all his brilliance, Reese hadn't vanished completely. 3 days after the escape, a red light camera in rural Indiana captured an ambulance identical to the Northlake van. The driver wore the same mask. In the passenger seat, investigators spotted something even stranger: a laptop balanced on the dashboard, its screen showing lines of live CCTV code. He wasn't just escaping. He was rewriting himself in real time. By the time police reached the location, the van had been stripped and burned. Inside the ash, they found a metal plate, the camera's hard drive, melted and fused, and a half-melted USB stick labeled only Sequence END. Lang's team ran the drive through every decryption tool available. After 72 hours, one file finally opened. It was a single CCTV clip, dated 1 hour after the van burned. In it, a man stood on a quiet gas station forecourt. Hoodie up, surgical mask on, breathing in the night air. The timestamp read 4:37 a.m. The man looked up toward the camera and smiled faintly. Then he held up a folded piece of paper. On it, 3 words written in marker: "You watched wrong." The feed cut off right after. Lang froze the frame. The man's posture, his expression, everything screamed Reese. But facial recognition software disagreed. The AI scan returned a 43% mismatch, as if the subject's face had been altered digitally in subtle, surgical ways. The analysts went quiet. It was the first time anyone had seen a fugitive use the same surveillance system tracking him as part of his disappearance. Lang requested a full data poll from every major city along Interstate 70. For a brief moment, she thought she'd found him, a heat signature match from a drone near a rest stop. But when the team arrived, the building was empty. All they found was a half-empty cup of coffee, still warm, and a disconnected security camera facing the wall. And taped beneath that camera was another note. "If I can fool the eye, what makes you think I can't fool the lens?" The discovery sent shockwaves through the bureau. Reese hadn't simply escaped. He was taunting them through the very systems they trusted. For every camera that caught a glimpse, another showed a blank wall. For every file they recovered, another was overwritten by a looping image of the investigators themselves staring into monitors. He was turning the surveillance network into a hall of mirrors. By the end of the second week, the FBI had hundreds of hours of footage, some showing Reese alive, others claiming he was dead. They could no longer tell what was real. And then, just when the Bureau thought they had the upper hand, something impossible happened. Every single Northlake CCTV feed, archived, encrypted, and offline, flashed on for exactly 12 seconds. On screen appeared the morgue room where it all began. The same gurney, the same blue sheet, and under it a body. A camera panned closer automatically, revealing a tag around the wrist. The name read Evan Marks, the junior analyst who first uncovered the truth. Lang froze. The feed cut to black. Somewhere, far from Northlake, a man's voice whispered through the audio channel, digitized, distorted, almost amused. "Don't worry, Agent Lang. He's not dead either." The ghost in the system. By the time the Bureau recovered from the shock, the story had spread beyond their control. News outlets picked up fragments of the case, rumors of a prisoner who faked his death under 24-hour surveillance. The internet called him the Ghost of Northlake. Conspiracy channels uploaded blurry screenshots and speculative timelines. But behind closed doors, the FBI's cybercrime division was unraveling a nightmare that was far more calculated than anyone had imagined. Agent Rebecca Lang hadn't slept in 72 hours. The feed showing Evan Marks' body, the analyst who discovered Reese's digital forgery, had been traced to a hacked subnetwork within the Bureau itself. Someone had rerouted the signal through internal systems using an encrypted key that predated Northlake's original security software. In other words, Reese had built himself into the system years before anyone realized. When Lang's team tried to isolate his entry points, they found traces of data across dozens of government networks, traffic cameras, DMV databases, morgue archives, even the medical examiner's system that had recorded his official death. Reese wasn't just gone. He'd rewritten his existence. The Bureau's digital forensics team ran a full identity sweep. Every time they searched for Daniel Reese, they got error messages reading, "Archive not found." It was as though he'd reached into the national database and deleted himself pixel by pixel. Lang ordered a blackout. No leaks, no press. But it was too late. That night, one of the local TV stations aired a story about an ambulance fire that investigators believed was linked to a missing prisoner. The footage was grainy, taken from a roadside CCTV camera. But when Lang replayed it, something caught her attention. 4:2 frames, barely half a second. Someone was standing behind the police tape. A man in a hood, holding a handheld camera. He wasn't filming the wreck. He was filming the investigators. Lang enhanced the footage, heart pounding. It was him. Reese. Older, thinner, but unmistakably him. By the time agents arrived at the scene, he was gone. All they found was a small drone lodged in a nearby tree. Its memory card contained only one file, a short, looping video showing Lang's own face, staring into her monitor back at the Bureau. On the screen, text appeared over the footage. "It's not the cameras you need to worry about, Agent. It's what's watching you." From that moment, Lang knew Reese wasn't just playing a game of hide and seek. He was building a narrative, using the same surveillance tools the Bureau relied on to expose its own blind spots. She ordered every CCTV in Northlake re-examined, frame by frame. That's when they found it. At the precise moment Reese's death was recorded, a flicker appeared in the background of every live feed, a single pixel distortion. When the techs isolated it, the pattern wasn't random. It was binary. Translated, it read, "Phase 2 begins." Within hours, Northlake's internal servers crashed. Entire archives of footage, decades old, were overwritten with static. And embedded inside that static, investigators found ghost images, mugshots of inmates who died years earlier, blinking, moving as if alive. Reese had infected the system itself. Lang stared at the cascading data on her screen. "He turned surveillance into a virus," she whispered. Then her phone buzzed. A restricted number. She hesitated, then answered. "Agent Lang," a calm voice said, faint and distorted. "Did you really think I escaped from the cameras?" Her throat tightened. "Reese." "No, I escaped into them." She heard faint static, then, behind it, the unmistakable hum of her own office computer. Lang turned toward her desk monitor. It was on. She hadn't touched it. On screen was the live CCTV feed from the Northlake corridor, the same angle where Reese had faked his collapse months earlier. But the man in the footage wasn't Reese. It was her. Sitting at her desk. Talking on the phone. "Impossible," she breathed. The voice laughed softly. "Everything you see, Agent Lang, is only true because the camera tells you it is." Then, just as suddenly, the feed switched. Now it showed her office empty. The phone resting on its cradle. The room dark. Her blood ran cold. She was watching herself from a future that hadn't happened yet. Moments later, her lights flickered. Across the bureau, computers rebooted in unison. Every monitor displayed the same message in plain white text on a black screen. Daniel Reese, status, deceased. Rebecca Lang, status, deceased. Then the screens went dark. The bureau scrambled for days trying to trace the breach. They never found him. But 1 month later, a package arrived at Quantico. Inside was a USB drive. The only file was a CCTV clip, dated the day after the blackout. It showed a man sitting at a cafe in Lisbon, Portugal, facing away from the camera. He wore a gray hoodie, sipping coffee as people walked by. Then he looked up, half smiling into the lens. Daniel Reese. He raised his cup slightly as if toasting the viewer, and on the table in front of him lay a small black phone, its screen flashing a live feed of the FBI's main headquarters. The final frame froze on his face, his eyes calm and confident. Then one last line appeared on screen, typed across the CCTV overlay. "Death is easy to fake when you control the footage." Fade to black. If you think this story was wild, wait until you hear about the pilot who vanished mid-flight, with 200 passengers still on board. Subscribe now.